Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am Adam Abruzzi alongside Chris Collette.
Hey, guys.
We are here with coverage of the MPO lead card final round of the New England Disc Golf Championships. We are at Veterans Memorial Park in Bridgeport, Connecticut. This video is brought to us by ActonTV Sports, produced by New England Disc Golf Productions. The sponsor for this video is Hawks Nest Disc Golf. Christopher Collette out of Air, Massachusetts. He's here with me today to talk a little bit more about the course and what we're here for today.
Hey, I am excited to talk about this event. This is one of the biggest events in New England, the New England Disc Golf Championships, also known as NEFA Finals. I'm the president of NEFA for this year. I'm very excited to have this event in Bridgeport. They submitted a great bid to have the event in Bridgeport at Veterans Memorial Park. And our tournament director, Jason Koczeniak, put on a fantastic event with Two Roads Brewing as the title sponsor, including a player party over at Two Roads Brewing afterwards, which was amazing. Awesome. Yeah, if you haven't been down to that brewery, definitely take a trip down there and enjoy their outside area. So we have four players today, starting with Kyle Moriarty. Kyle's one of the top players in New England, has been for a few years, and is just a blast to watch play. He makes some amazing shots.
He's alongside Shane Wyatt, coming to us out of the Boston, Massachusetts area. He moved to us from Detroit recently, and he's an unbelievably hot putter, and he should be a blast to watch today.
Yeah, he's exciting. And our two-time New England Disc Golf champion, NEFA Finals champion, and I think two-time Point Series champion, is Mike out of New Hampshire, and Mike is a strong wooded player.
Yeah, we have Craig rounding out the four here on the lead card. Craig is a long time player, 20 plus years playing disc golf, coming out of New Jersey, and he plays a lot of Innova. He should be fun to watch today.
Yeah, Craig's won some really big events. I want to say Craig's got some A-tier wins probably under his belt over the last few years. If not, probably 100 B-tier wins.
Yeah, I looked him up. He has a lot of career earnings. He's a great player.
Yeah. The first hole is a relatively straightforward hole. Most players are going to be throwing a clean, long, high-speed driver, hyzer. You'll see there's a gap right in the middle of the green area, but most players will be throwing the hyzer to take the wide right gap. It's a little tough to see off the green, so I think a lot of the local players have a slight advantage on this hole, knowing exactly how far to throw that hyzer to get in. So you'll see Kyle's shot will hopefully fade back left through that gap. So if that's a little higher, just a little shorter, we're trying to go right over our second cameraman out there by the entrance to the green.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, it doesn't appear that there's a big hole there, but once you play the course enough, and you'll see why all the locals go that way.
That is perfect. That's the gap you want to hit. Mike is a sponsored Prodigy player, so you'll probably see him on a lot of these long holes, throwing D1s, D2s. And that's the right shot. It's got to be just a little longer. And now from this angle, you can see just how big that gap is.
Yeah.
It's there. You just kind of got to trust it. And you might have seen a little bit behind Craig. There's a local artist, Drew Mullen, who did the trophies, and he's also done a lot of the course art. So they have this big, beautiful piece of artwork that shows all of the hole layouts and map for the course. And this green is a little scary. You can see it slopes downwards from where Kyle was putting. So you see a lot of players, if you don't quite get in that gap, a lot of them are going to lay up, because if you blow past it long, you could be pretty far down the hill to the left there.
Yeah, it seems like where most of these drives landed, that's what most players are doing here. They're just trying to get it well within 10 feet.
And you'll see on a lot of the holes on this course, see, that's the one thing disc golf needs, is the ability to play defense.
Yep.
I wish I could more often knock my opponent's disc farther away.
It would make match play more interesting. Here we go.
Wow.
Great birdie to start off the round.
Somebody warmed up this morning. That is great. That's, what was that, 50 feet, 60 feet? And that's the Shane Wyatt special. Shane makes probably more putts. I've had the opportunity to play with him a lot. Shane makes more putts probably from 50 to 90 feet than I've seen almost anybody else make, because he putts hard and straight with a lot of spin. It's almost a half throw.
It's a lot of practice.
But it does mean that when he misses, it goes pretty far long. A lot of his misses end up circle's edge or even outside the circle, especially if it's a downhill. You know, if he had missed that one, he's probably 80 feet past the basket.
Well, he was willing to take the risk, and that put him in first place by one stroke, just a stroke ahead of Kyle. Mike is only one stroke behind Kyle, and Craig is right in the mix too, just a few strokes off of there. So we're still We're still in a point where it's really anyone's game. Hole 2 is a long, straight shot, but it plays to a really blocked rock area. If you throw into the rocks too hard, or if you kick one of the trees and fall down left down the hill, that's your more dangerous spot. So if you are going to throw a backhand here, it's best to really turn something over and get it to land on the right-hand side, or get incredibly lucky like you just saw there, hit a tree and end up with a near perfect drive.
That's experience right there, knowing exactly which tree to hit to get it to kick back towards the green.
Kyle also got saved a little bit there. He had a drive that was turning into the left-hand side a little too far, but the tree put him down into the fairway, which is nice.
And you'll see a lot of players on this. They'll either really throw a putter hard or throw a mid-range. I think it's a good mid-range to easy thrown fairway driver distance.
Oh, Craig just misses the tree, and he's going to land right in the good area. The right-hand side is nice and open.
Good kick.
Yeah, leads right up towards the basket.
And this is the tough part about the greens like this on this course. A lot of them, you're throwing up over rocks. There's a lot of granite. You have a good amount of sort of bounce and roll opportunities, kicking off a lot of those hard pack surfaces.
That was a great approach for Mike. He actually had a really great drive that kicked into a bad spot. So, ooh, oh,
there it is again.
That was almost back-to-back birdies with a really unfortunate just near miss there.
Wow, I think that went off the cage.
It did.
Wow.
That was 2 birdie misses, near inch.
And that goes to show how these guys made it so far ahead of everybody else and onto the lead card for round 2.
Craig takes a birdie down, showing you how open that right-hand side is. He hits a nice, clean 30, 40-foot putt there.
And Craig's probably played this course more than anybody else. Mike is from New Hampshire. Shane and Kyle both live in Massachusetts. But with Craig being down, and if you're not from the New England area, Bridgeport's in the southwest corner of almost the southwesternmost corner of Connecticut. So Craig's probably got the most practice time on this course and will know most of the lines a little bit better than everybody else.
It worked for him there. He picked up a stroke on the card there, narrowing the gap all the way around.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight one. So this hole, you see that granite, that giant rock right there by the basket. From the tee, you can't see the basket, but you can see that rock. So a lot of players are going to be aiming, sort of eyeballing that rock, trying to be near it. Like a turnover mid-range or I think I threw a turnover putter on this hole. And a lot of folks, it's those trees right in the middle that you're trying to avoid. You want to be right of those trees so that you don't kick left. Shane with one of the many rocks that he threw. Oh, that looks beautiful.
There it is.
That's a great shot. And that's what it is. You can't see the basket, but the rock is close enough that as long as you turn over by that rock, you're going to have, 15 feet.
A lot of players are going to do what Kyle does here, too, and forehand right at the rock. But if you bite it off too early, you're going to get, I think you're going to have more left than the backhander will have.
Mike also throwing the forehand. A little low.
He's going to get caught up there.
And this is another one of those greens. If you blow too far past this basket, throw it a little too hard, you could be 50, 60, 70 feet past this basket. It slopes more the farther you get away, too. So it's a good, smart upshot instead of trying to probably run it too high. Although, to be honest, the guys that are on this card, they tend to run most death putts anyway.
Yep, absolutely. Craig was not looking to lay up there.
See, and that's the rollaway that you got to be careful of. But you can't, right? You can't score unless you go for it.
No.
That's a good putt.
Yep. Cleans up the par. That really doesn't end up costing him to run the birdie there. And, I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to reduce the amount of times that happens to you.
When you can make putts from that far away confidently, it lets you run more dangerous putts for birdie, knowing that you'll always get par.
And Shane's going to clean up. That'll be the lone birdie on this hole.
Fixing the basket for the card behind him.
Puts him 2 strokes up. He's now 2 strokes up on Kyle, who is now 1 stroke up on Mike, with Craig right behind again. So we're still really tight here on the lead card. As we move into hole 4, hole 4 is a long par 3. It's one of the tougher holes on the course. It plays to a pretty strong S-curve to a basket that plays down along a backhand stream. The stream plays casual, but you still don't want to be down in that area. So what you'll see is a lot of players kind of go over this first rise on hyzer, and then you just want to try to get it. You want it to fade, but the less the fade, the closer to the basket. And you'll see that Shane almost hits a perfect drive here.
Yeah, almost all the drives that make the turn are going to keep moving left. And, you know, it's a subtle thing that course designers do, but they'll create a fairway that is shaped just like the flight path of a disc. And then they'll put the basket on the other side of the end, so that even if you throw the perfect shot, usually your disc is ending up on the far side. So you got a couple of choices. You can try to throw the flex instead, which I know some forehand stronger players would do on this hole, or you throw the backhand and just know that you're going to have a longer putt, or you do what Kyle did, get a great kick and put yourself right next to the basket probably.
Yeah, he ended up throwing that compass right down the lane pretty perfectly, and then it just kissed a tree and it went pretty far right of the basket, but he'd rather be there.
Mike swings it wide, which gives him a better line of the basket, and then gets one of the same kicks that Kyle gets, but I think rolls possibly into that creek on the right.
No, Craig had hit early right, so he's just going to try to clear up from the fairway here.
And you know it's a tough spot if Craig has to throw that forehand. I don't know that Craig throws. I don't think Craig throws a lot of forehands.
No, he was trapped there. And he just misses this par.
Tries to put some of the leg English on it. Not enough.
Ooh.
Just off the cage.
Shane doesn't miss those often.
So it looks like Mike rolled possibly across the creek.
Hey, he must have jumped it or been rolling even harder than it looked off the drive.
Ramp off one of those boulders.
And it's almost the same kick he got. Oh, but he hits the birdie.
That's a great putt. I think that went off the nub on the top of the basket, too.
Kyle went top to bottom there for sure. Craig cleans up his bogey. You know, you don't want to see a lot of bogeys on a course like this, but it's so easy to have happen with how many trees riddle this course.
And this is one of the tougher holes on the course, too, where the fairway's just a little smaller than most of the holes and a little longer than a lot of the holes.
Of all the holes on the course, I think that this is one of the more bogeyable ones, too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's easy to get in trouble early.
And you see a little, I don't know if I want to call it frustration out of Shane, but he saw an opportunity there to put another stroke between him and Kyle, maybe come out to a little bit of a bigger lead.
And he ends up losing one. It's
Right.
tough. It's tough.
Hole 5 is the newest hole on the course. The town put in a dog park that forced them to take out one of the holes. So they replaced it, took out that hole and added this hole, which is new hole 5. And you'll see it's a straight tunnel shot, about 200 feet or so to the green. But once you get to the green, that is a very steep slope to the left. So you might get players throwing a forehand like Kyle did, hoping to crash into the hill on the right side and sort of stay there. You'll see a lot of guys who tend to throw mostly backhands, favoring the forehand here, knowing that any fade's going to go down the hill. So you may end up with guys who maybe don't throw a lot of forehands, maybe not throw the greatest forehand.
Yeah, it's a death hill back there.
Oh, that looks great if it gets all the way there. Looks a little long.
It is, but that's almost an okay spot. His birdie putt will be uphill. I mean, it's closer than it looked there. That's amazing.
1 foot long, so we'll take it.
But you do see a lot of people go long on this hole, and you know you can go 50, 60, 70 feet long pretty easily because the tunnel allows it. But then the putt back uphill is amazing. You know, it's much better to be doing that than putting over the hill.
Right. So Shane with a big putt, probably just trying to favor right side. Yep. So and this is exactly what this hole does. It forces you to take what you might go for and instead try to lay up next to the basket, but even then you're hoping that it won't roll away.
Kyle picks up a beautiful two there.
Putt. Did he forehand a putter on this hole?
I'm not sure.
I think that looks like, I think he forehanded a putter.
Might have been a harp.
I could see that.
He harps a lot. Good cleanup par for Craig. Same for Shane. He cleans up a par, and this hole begs you to do it anyway.
Yeah, this is a hole that a lot of people get pars on. because it's tough to get all the way and stay next to the basket, but you're still frustrated with that par, knowing that the hole is just over 200 feet.
Yeah, Kyle and Mike really had to work to earn those birdies, and those are great drives and great cleanups. Now Kyle and Shane find themselves tied.
We are tied, folks.
Yeah, Kyle came back back-to-back holes, pick up a stroke. We enter hole 6 as our first par 4 of the day. It's almost 500 feet. It actually plays about to 500 because it's straight up. You have to hit 2 small tunnels. There's one. Oh, look at the Pikachu socks for Kyle. Those look amazing, and the tree's calling out to him. He must be ready to have a good drive here. Again, as I was saying, it's 2 tunnels here. First one's about 100 feet off the box, and then you have to follow the tunnel all the way down. It gets very narrow for a moment, and it gradually runs uphill. And that's it. Sock power right there. He managed to hit both tunnels and all the way through.
Gotta catch all the birdies. You're welcome, folks. So did Mike not hit anything? Oh my God.
He got pretty clean through the right-hand side. It's a sneaky route over there.
There's a lot of stuff in the way over there too.
Shane tries to. Ooh, Shane catches an early one, and that is one of the bigger dangers of this hole, is not hitting that first tunnel.
This is this is a par 4, so I guess on paper this probably isn't the hardest hole, because I would imagine a lot of people get 4s, knowing full well that they could have gotten 3s. So this is the kind of hole that if they called it just a long 3, would probably be the hardest hole in the course. There's a lot of trees in the way, and there are points along this fairway that are only 10 feet wide, but 350 feet from the basket.
It's absolutely, it's a tough fairway to navigate, and Shane showed us that just now.
That's a tiny gap.
Yeah, Craig followed Mike through the woods on the right-hand side, but got a kick back to the fairway and used it to his advantage there.
Kyle's drive, you see everybody throwing up shots. Kyle's drive is probably the best drive that was thrown on this hole this weekend. I don't think we're at Kyle's drive just yet.
Nope, he has not shot yet. Mike left himself an extra few feet than he wanted to there, but he definitely had an awkward shot. This is Kyle's second shot on this beast of a hole.
Wow, standstill putting too. Maybe probably a jump.
Smooth eagle.
That's incredible.
Wow. Look at the slow motion here.
That's incredible.
Nice putt. Excellent eagle.
Pro side. And I think when you putt a little bit the way Kyle does too, right? Sort of that high hyzer.
Yep.
You can run a little bit from a little bit farther away, knowing that you're probably less likely to blow super far past the basket.
He had the will to make that one, that was for sure. We're going to see a lot of cleanup birdies here, which is nice.
And this is why I think this hole, assuming you hit a clean gap, but maybe you're not the farthest, you should be able to get a 3 relatively easily. It's just when you hit the trees really early, which I think is what Shane ran into. You hit an early tree, it makes that second shot almost even harder than the tee shot, even though the tee shot's farther away. And that's a 2-stroke swing for Kyle, so he's got 2 strokes now on Shane, but there's a lot of golf left. Hole 7 gives you 2 options. You'll see from the tee pad that you can go right side or left side. If you go left side, forehand like Kyle's throwing beautifully. Is that long enough? A little short, and a roll away. That's tough.
Yeah, those rocks will do it to you every time.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Adam, but there's a creek on the left side?
No.
Yeah, I found the creek. If you end up far enough left, it looks like these guys probably won't get that far over, but at least 2 of them are going to have some long putts up to the basket.
Yeah, you have to be near perfect to not end up hitting the rock and finding yourself in a poor direction, unfortunately. It's the full challenge of this hole.
And I think this lines up perfectly for a stable rock shot like this. That's a great shot.
Oh, and again,
and a tough roll. That's the Bridgeport green roll.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to miss all of those rocks.
This is one of those courses where oftentimes the winners, or those who shoot well, are those with the best upshot scramble game.
Oh, there we go.
Wow. Mike with the big jump putt.
Yeah, that was really nice. That was a great time for him to birdie.
Sneaks it in.
Kyle Heiser's out a little further up than he wanted to there ahead of the basket, and doesn't manage to connect on that one. Shane, who also had a little bit of a roll away on his drive, just floats that one over the basket.
Yep, and this is the putt that he ends up left with if he misses, or in this case, skips off the top of the basket.
That bogey hurts.
I tell you, it leads for exciting golf, the way
Yes.
that Shane putts. This is another one of those holes that everybody's hoping to birdie. So you feel like you threw the great shot, but kick off granite, roll away. Now you're trying to make a big putt. A lot of times you're happy with par based on where rollaways can go, but you definitely want the birdie. And if you don't, especially if you bogey like Shane did, you can end up giving up 1 or 2 strokes to multiple members of your card.
It's true. And that brings us actually into hole 8 with Mike now sneaking his way into second place. Hole 8, it's really straightforward. A lot of players you're going to see forehand it unless you feel like you can land something very flat with a backhand. It goes straight up a hill to the right. You have to avoid that one center tree, and it has to use the land, which is really what makes this hole unique. You really want to try to skip up that hill for the best possible landing shot.
And you definitely don't want to roll all the way down the left side. I think this is like hole 5, where you see a lot of backhand players that favor the backhand throwing a forehand, because the last thing they want to have happen is have their backhand go down the left side or skip down the left side.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
great shot. He used the land. He got his skip up to the top, and now, I mean, he's pin high.
You know you threw a good shot when the cameraman who's just short of the basket has to turn around to catch your disc landing.
Ooh.
Oh.
Craig shows us why a backhand is a tough shot here.
Oh, that's painful.
He'll be very deep on the left-hand side.
I want to say, if I could see that, that looks like an FD, and that's the sort of drive that somebody who throws almost all backhands is going to throw. The big turnover, just trying to stay high right.
Knowing that the disc will land flat is the most important shot for him right there. Mike shot up and had a perfect approach.
That's
I'm
awesome.
assuming Craig is still looking on the left-hand side. He's got it.
There's so much stuff. One round I was there. There's so much stuff over there.
Yeah, he looks like a
straight up.
That's an impressively high pitch out, and he's not more than maybe
he's putting.
50. Yeah, he's putting from there. That was a good out from that
Shane
spot.
with another 50-foot death putt.
Oh wow, just off the rim, but got nice and safe.
Yeah, good thing he stayed there.
Ooh.
I think that's Craig trying to save par from maybe circle's edge, just outside the circle, after a great upshot to give himself a chance from no man's land.
Very clean birdie for Kyle there. He caught fire at the right time.
That's what happens when you throw that great forehand, is you can end up all the way up at the top, nice and safe, easy putt. Craig bringing a piece of the course with him to the next hole.
Our leaderboard is all shaken up right now. We have Kyle on fire at the moment now, 3 strokes ahead of Mike. Shane is slipped himself into 3rd place, but he's only a stroke behind Mike, and I can tell that putter is just, getting ready to heat up.
Hole 9 is a long hole. It's one of the few par 4s on this course. Really does require 2 shots to get up to the basket, and you'll see that this fairway that Kyle's going to throw a forehand up is usually the forehand shot that people take. You're trying to get as far up that as possible and fade to the right. There's a number of gaps going up the fairway, but none of them are bigger than 10 or 15 feet. If you throw the backhand like Mike's going to do, you need it to turn over way right. And if this gets through those gaps, that'll be a great shot. Then you're looking at a wide open, maybe 200-foot putter shot up to the basket, so for an easy birdie. But the key to this hole is just getting through that first gap. One of the things you want to be careful of is not throwing too straight of a shot. So Shane wanted that to turn over a lot more than it did.
Yeah, straight as a jungle.
Yeah.
Straight as an absolute tree jungle, and he found himself he had a great drive, but he wanted a lot more turn.
Oh, it looks like Craig did the same thing.
Yeah, just a beautiful straight drive.
And throwing straight isn't bad, but throwing straight and too long is terrible.
Yeah, it shortens up how many of those gaps you have to now lead towards the basket.
Kyle's forehand was early, so it left him in an awkward, long out and around forehand.
And his approach was almost the same, a little early and a little high. It left him maybe 30, 40 feet. Mike had a great drive.
And a great
really
upshot.
approach. There it is.
That's awesome.
That's how you attack this one. You can see there's a lot in Craig's way here. And he finds one of them.
And that's the one to beat, right? You got to get... We all look at that tree and we go, as long as I don't hit that one, I'll be good.
There he goes. Clean that right up from the woods there. I mean, he's still cleaned up for par, but you want to get a birdie here.
Yeah, a birdie on this hole feels like par to the top players. To these guys, they're thinking 3 or a tremendous drive and a 2. So getting a 4 feels like a bogey on this hole.
Kyle does have a chance to birdie here. That is a really long putt, and he just sails it up to
Good
fast.
commitment. Good commit. Just a little high.
Good birdie for Shane, and a great time for it.
Kyle with just a drop in. Tap it in, get to the next hole.
Mike, that's a nice tap in birdie.
It's a nice bag too.
It shows well execution. Yeah, that's one of the new BP2s.
BP1s.
Is it a BP1?
Yeah, that's the new BP1 from Prodigy.
Awesome. So where are we now? Shane is just a couple of strokes back now on the lead with Mike just 2 behind. We go into hole 10, which is a 313-foot par 3. It is just uphill and fades slightly to the right. What you have to do is attack the huge tree that you can see off the box. Anything that lands within 10-15 feet of that tree is going to be a pretty clean shot at the basket.
And you'll see a lot of players will do what Mike just did. They'll throw the big forehand, knowing that the basket is to the right of the giant tree that's all the way at the end of the fairway. So the issue, though, is that it's a long forehand, and it's an uphill forehand. So a lot of these backhand-favored players maybe don't have a forehand that's that far.
Right.
Shane picks the local route right side, which I don't think is a thing, but he makes it his thing and gets all the way through. Kyle does have a forehand that's that long.
He attacks that tree.
That's great. If that tree's not in the way, he's probably touching the pole.
Yeah.
He's going to still have maybe a 15-footer. Hopefully that big tree's not in the way when he gets up there. And then I think this is the play that the backhand players tend to go for. The flip-up fairway driver, maybe something T-bird-ish, leopard-ish.
Sure.
Yeah. But again, the key, you got to get it all the way up the hill. Otherwise, you're left with a long putt because this basket is all the way at the top of the hill.
Ooh, Mike just missing his birdie on the right-hand side there.
This isn't the scariest green, so Mike is probably still 10, 15 feet past the basket. Craig with a great putt. That's how most backhanded players play this hole. Just get up to the tree, tap in for 2. Don't do anything too crazy. It looks like Kyle had to deal a little bit with that tree. And maybe was a little afraid of being super long down that hill.
Shane grabs a birdie. It was a great time for him to do that. He gets another stroke back on Kyle.
And I think, assuming Mike makes this putt,
that should tie them for second. Ooh. That's actually going to drop Mike. Unfortunately, with that bogey, that should drop Mike back into 3rd place.
Yeah, Mike had that birdie putt. Unfortunately, leaves with a bogey. And as the sticker on the basket tells you, no low putts.
No low putts. All right, well, Shane stealing that birdie is really a huge stroke on the card. It brings him now back into 2nd place, just 2 strokes off of Kyle. Mike finds himself 3 strokes down on the lead now.
Hole 11 was one of my favorite holes. I think it's one of the coolest holes on the course. You're back to a traditional hyzer, mid-range fairway driver, something that's going to fly straight and finish a good distance to the left. And is probably one of the squishiest tee pads I've ever thrown from.
It's like throwing from a bath mat.
This is a brand new tee pad, and it's an AstroTurf tee pad, so it's still nice and soft and fluffy.
Would you say it's the easiest hole on the course for you? For most players, anyway?
It could be, yeah. It's got to be probably top 3.
I would say
easiest.
So. Oh, the skip ace almost proves us right
Yep.
there.
Craig had a response to that question.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wood chips over by the green too. So
yeah, it really slows you down. I
way,
think that plays well into the equation. I'd say it's one of the also wider fairways in the woods for this course. I mean, obviously there's 1 or 2 drives out in the open, but for lanes, this is one of the bigger ones.
And as long as you get right of the tree Mike hit, and left or right of the tree Kyle hit, You're putting off the green.
Oh, well, Mike does find the hole. Does find the difficulty that lies on this hole, which is going left.
Kyle with a great upshot.
Yeah, cleans up the drive perfectly.
Probably with a harp.
Yeah, definitely seeing a bit of a run there from Mike for sure.
Almost throws it in.
Yeah.
Shane putting from Shane distance.
Yeah.
Cashes it.
He
Slow-mo.
knew right there.
Look at, he doesn't stop moving.
It's in.
Comes out of his hand. He knows that's in.
And that was a really good time to pick up another birdie when he saw his opponent. He's gonna gain another stroke there.
I think Shane's putting with mercies.
Mercies all day for Shane. Until tomorrow. He tells me he switches every 2 weeks.
I think I've seen Shane switch putters at lunch.
There you go. It's a tough bogey for Mike to take there. Craig almost skip-aced. He'll have to settle for the 2. That's 2 straight birdies for Craig going into the back 9. All right, we are now 1 stroke difference between first and second place. Shane found himself falling back into third place and then crawled his way back into second by just a stroke off Kyle. We go into hole 12. Hole 12 is a 253-foot hole, but it has essentially 2 blockers. If you want to play the backhand here, you have to throw nice low on a skip, and if you want to throw the forehand, it's really hard to get all the way up to the basket. The lane almost forbids it, so you'll see a lot of players go high and hyzer on this.
Yeah, I think the issue with the forehand is that to not hit the tree that's straight ahead, it has to fade in a little early and too early to get all the way up to the green. So a lot of the players, and these players that have great backhands are going to, this is their bread and butter. This is why they're as good as they are, because they can throw the really long, slow-turning backhand to hit all of the gaps, get all the way up to the green.
Now Kyle, he's going to show us that forehand route here.
Yeah, as long as he throws it hard enough and high enough and it gets all the way up, he'll have a putt.
It was great. It was great. It is a little bit short, but not as short as you're going to see. Somebody with a powerful forehand like him can manage to get it up that high, which is nice.
Mike probably throwing an M4, turning it over all the way up.
That is
with the skip.
Perfect.
That's a great shot.
Mike needed a drive like that. He had a couple of tough holes in a row, and he really just shows that he has massive composure to have a drive like that.
Shane gives it a fair bid. He'll get an easy 3, but this is one of those holes. If you have a good backhand turnover, you're hoping to get a 2 on this one. I mean, to be honest, there's probably no holes on this course that anybody's playing for par. It's a short enough course, but there are some holes that are dense enough that you'll sort of settle for a par. I don't think this is one of them.
No. And that is a very clean birdie from Kyle.
That's a great birdie.
That is a great drive, and that is a great putt out.
Mike is trying to put the train back on the tracks. I think he went bogey last 2 holes, and I think that's what bumped him down a couple strokes into third. But having been in second just 3 holes ago, I think he wants to put it back on the tracks and see if he can catch Kyle or at least pass Shane again. We'll see how that goes going forward.
Yeah, this is a great course to keep your head in it because anything can happen.
Accurate. Yep. And as we get into the last few holes, we start to see some OB come into play. So at any point, somebody could make something happen. 2 strokes from Kyle to Shane, 2 strokes from Shane to Mike, and then Craig's a few back of that. Craig's probably at this point fighting for second or third, but anything could happen.
Yeah.
Hole 13 is the first of the holes that changes sort of the visuals of this course just a little bit. We got some big, lush green, a little bit more open. You can kind of throw a little bigger, a little wider than on a lot of these holes. Everybody wants to enter this fairway from the left side, either the backhand or forehand. If you throw the forehand, you want it to be, I think, a little straighter, a little lower than Kyle threw. That's why he ends up really short. If you throw a backhand, you're looking to have it turn over a little bit, but still go very far. 365, it is downhill, so you're looking at probably 350 to play. You definitely don't want to hit one of the first trees on the way in like Mike did. He's going to have another probably 200-foot upshot through the woods just to get near a basket, which is on a very dangerous green.
It really is. You have to make sure that you put yourself in a position on this drive to approach a very tough basket.
Shane with the what looked like an Anheuser fairway driver. That's the shot that the backhand players are going to tend to take.
Yeah, it's just right into the underneath of that canopy and land yourself on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and if you're going to hit a tree, make sure it's one that sends you forward, right?
Now that is the forehand shot if he, yes.
Wow. when he hits the soft stuff.
Yeah, he gets a little caught up more than he should have. That was a pretty picture-perfect forehand for this drive. Rocked.
That's going to leave him with maybe just outside the circle putt on a really scary green. The basket's on the edge of a little bit of a cliff.
Ooh, that was a bit of a bid. That was a bit of a bid on a deathy putt. And I know it, Shane. You know he's going to go for it.
Oh, around the tree.
Oh, wow.
Cashes it.
Wow. Slight Anheuser putt.
Another one.
And he actually goes right through the chains there. That was incredibly scary and very close to coming out the backhand side. And couldn't possibly be a better time to birdie right there.
I think that was less of a cheer when it went in and more of a sigh of relief.
Absolutely.
Thank God it went in.
Oh,
and Mike finds that cliff. You got to at least hit metal on something like that.
Slow him down even a little bit.
Let's hope he's not too far.
Oh, just hits the top of the cage on the putt back.
Craig with a big putt.
Oh, and a big roll.
Oh, don't go too far. Don't go. Oh, I can see his face.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, just off. That's a tough hole for Craig.
Yeah, that's unfortunately going to be a couple of strokes for Mike and a couple of strokes for Craig.
They're both going to double bogey here. And, you know, Craig had started this back 10 birdie, and unfortunately had to give them both back there. But we find Shane now. He just dragged himself back within one stroke of Kyle, and this is going to be amazing finish here. We're going to get to see them go into hole 14 again. We are a little bit open off the box. This basket sits pretty far down this fairway here. So you have to play the right-hand side. There is a mandatory on the left-hand side. You can't quite see off the box. Most players here are going to play deep down the right-hand side and then just play towards this basket that sits up on a grassy hill.
And this is probably the only hole, I think probably the only hole in the course where you're just trying to throw the longest hyzer that you can. Maybe 18 also, but this is the goal on this drive is to get as much distance as you can, but still hitting a gap that's 40 feet wide, but 250 feet from the tee pad.
Now Kyle here, if that fades, ooh, he got a little into the woods, but that was a pretty perfect hit of that gap.
You don't want to be too far right in the forest, and you don't want to be too far left, which it looks like Mike is gonna have to maybe fight through that forest a little bit on the left. There are gaps over there, but none is probably But there's a few, but none of them are bigger than maybe 4 feet.
Now Craig, that's pitch perfect.
That's a fantastic drive, and Craig's gonna have probably an easy pitch up to the basket. The basket is on a really, really steep hill.
Mike makes it most of the way out through the forest, but when he kicks a tree, it sends him to the fairway, so he'll have a shot.
And the grass around the basket is tall, so as long as you can pitch anywhere up to the basket and have it sit even a little flat on the grass, it'll usually stay there.
Yeah. Definitely long enough to catch a lot of these approaches, so you'll see these guys will make slight moves at these baskets. Shane, for sure. He had a great drive.
Finds the one rock next to the basket, skips to the other side. Bounces, really.
There's another great drive there.
So these guys are going to hope to pitch. There is some roll away scare here.
Oh, wow. Mike's birdie rolls away a little bit.
I feel like that's partially my fault.
Maybe. We were talking about the long grass.
I brought it up.
Mike's having a tough go here towards the back here, and sails that one just over the back of the basket.
Kyle with the birdie. Now it is a par 4, so taking a 3 in this hole is a must. A lot of these players are. This is one of the few holes that you're happy with a 3. What you're not happy with is another tough roll away. He's still gonna have a big putt to save something over par.
It's tough to hit these putts when you're frustrated. He just doesn't get that up enough.
Triple bogey and a par 4. So I think Mike's at this point going to be competing maybe with Craig for third if he can get some strokes back. There are still 4 holes to go, and as we just saw, anything can happen on any of these holes.
Yeah.
Craig with a great birdie, trying to push through for maybe solo third. Shane with the birdie, and that's really what everybody wants in this hole. You got to get the 3. A 4 or worse feels terrible, and the 2 is almost impossible.
Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of 2s, but Shane and Kyle both birdieing out there keeps them within 1. Mike and Craig are now battling for that 3rd place spot, just a stroke off of each other.
And we have another long hole, but this one's flat, thin, very dense, and you see that big gully just short of the basket. Everyone's upshot, you're just trying to get into that gully because you know that it'll catch your disc. Shane trying to go big here, a little low, but if it stays up, he'll be good. Catches the tree on the right side, and you see that fairway is tight, and it only gets smaller as you get closer to the basket. Most of the players that throw the backhand, all they're trying to do is not end up on the left side. Oh, God. Kyle throws probably, again, the best shot I've seen on one of these holes ever.
It's near perfect right there.
Well, that's got to turn over more.
Yeah, that stayed a little stable, but you know what? He's
Wow.
going to be real happy with the amount of distance he got.
And you just got to hope he's got good footing, and he's got to win it to the basket. Because of that ravine just short of the basket, as long as you can get anywhere near it, you can usually catch in there, and that ravine's inside the circle, so you'll have a putt. Mike with a great kick back to the fairway.
Oh, yeah, he actually got a lot of distance on that.
That's looking fantastic. Oh. I thought he was past that tree.
I did too. I mean, he'll have a putt from the left-hand side, but it definitely wasn't what it was going to be.
Maybe circle's edge, maybe longer, but he's not in the hole that you want to be in.
He's a little more trapped than I thought he was going to be. If he had gotten about 10 feet further, it's actually pretty open forehand from there, but I can't tell quite how far he fought through there, but it wasn't an easy shot.
It's the rare Connecticut jungle.
Yeah.
Oh, big putt.
All right.
I think if he doesn't hit that tree, that looks like it goes in.
That gully's a really good shot, though.
The big step putt.
Sit for him.
It's a lot of metal for Mike today, and that's frustrating because you know that you're just so close to putting up a fantastic round.
Yeah, and if he had hit a couple of those early, it might have given him the confidence later in this round.
Shane,
Ooh.
Shane big from outside, what looks like outside the circle.
Yeah. That was a 40, 50 footer.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely great time for that.
That big Shane smile. Probably one of the nicest guys in disc golf.
Yeah, he'll never bring a card down, that's for sure. And a big birdie putt from Craig.
That's great, considering he was almost laying down to pitch out. Kyle with the putt for birdie, even after hitting a tree on his last shot. That means that if that putt had gone in, that would have been another eagle.
His second eagle of the day. So that keeps us on a one-stroke gap here. And I mean, these guys are going to battle till the very end. I mean, especially on holes like this where, I mean, we've said it 1,000 times how much anything can happen. Hole 16 is going to prove to that. It is narrow. There is probably only about 50, 40-foot gap there that you have to shoot through up towards this rock wall. The great thing about it is that rock wall is a real disc stopper. I don't see a lot of rolls actually happen on this, and a lot of guys are just going to try to drive hard up the hill anywhere to that rock wall, and you should get a nice stick and a shot of birdie.
Exactly what Shane did. Maybe get a little farther up.
Yeah, he just threw it a little bit low, but absolutely perfect on the line, and he's going to have a putt. And that's, you have to worry more about hitting the gap.
Exactly.
If you kick, I mean, you don't want to see yourself getting a two-stroke swinger, and this is a hole that can two-stroke swing you.
And Kyle's over in the part of this hole that's the toughest. Over there, there's a lot of jungle over there too. So as long as you stay center or right, you're good. But you want to be where Craig kicked.
Yeah,
you
Craig
don't want to
got
be where
great
Kyle
kicks.
kicked.
Two great kicks for Craig, keep him out in the fairway, but he's at the bottom of the hill.
That's a fantastic drive.
Yeah, picture perfect for Mike.
All the way up, trying to get to the rock wall so that you'll have a 20, 25-foot putt.
You know we're seeing a harp here. That's good. He's going to give a little bit more of a putt than he's going to want, that's for sure.
Craig with a fair bid, and you're trying to get just up to the top of the hill. If you're at the bottom of the hill, you're just trying to get to the top.
Yeah, it's not a putt you're going to run. Shane for sure was there, though.
Trying to save par.
Oh, wow. That is a great time to save par for Kyle. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on him on that putt. He had just seen his opponent miss his birdie, knowing that if he misses that, it was going to mean a tie.
That's a great birdie for Mike.
Yeah.
He has to keep his head in the game. There's enough good players at this tournament. This is the New England Championship, so there's enough good players at this tournament, even coming up from the chase card. And at this point, he's thinking, I got to save spots. I got to make sure I don't drop any farther. We put down a good drive, put it next to the rock wall, get a birdie, and still try to stay pretty high in the standings. And wow, that's close. One stroke between Kyle and Shane. Still, after hole 16, this is really exciting. So hole 17 brings some OB into play. You see that road in the back. If you're right of that road, you're out of bounds. So players are going to want to throw a long drive, a 300-plus foot drive, that fades left towards the basket. If you throw it too straight, you can be OB. If you fade too early, you can be in a lot of gross stuff on the left side. And it doesn't help that it slopes downhill from the left side. You see that there, down to Tournament Central.
Wow.
That's a tremendous drive.
He made that look really easy. Oh, Shane following right
awesome
behind
too.
him.
That also looks awesome. Just don't be too far down the hill.
Well, you guys have my word. They're making this look easier. This hole actually is pretty tight. If you go in too early, you're in trouble. If you try to straighten it out too much, you're out of bounds. He hits nothing.
Oh, Kyle's a little high, a little early, a little too much hyzer spike, almost down by the Two Roads tent down at Tournament Central.
And he's got a putt from there, though.
Oh, this looks great. Oh, it's got to stay up or skip.
Wow. Wow, that was 4 excellent drives on hole 17.
Oh, it's so beautiful. This is a big putt for Shane.
Oh, no. That was a big difference-making putt, and he hit it, and he hit every bit of it.
You can't putt it any better.
That was
disappointing. And how did that not stay in?
Oh, and Kyle with the chance to put, wow, he would have been able to put this thing away with that putt.
I can't believe neither went in.
That was a rare miss from Kyle. Wow,
so they'll both clean up pars. Nothing will change, even though so much could have.
That putt falling out the back was hard enough for Shane. I mean, and then to see Kyle miss the subsequent putt, he's got to be racked right now.
Shane made, I mean, at the end of the day, Shane made that putt and it punched through the basket.
Well, that leaves us one stroke. Mike has birdied back-to-back holes. Craig's been shooting well too, but they are still in a great -6, -7 battle there for third place.
One stroke between Kyle and Shane going into the last hole. One stroke between Mike and Craig going into the last hole. This is hole 18 is a gorgeous hole. You're teeing off over by a beautiful rock wall here. You're throwing through. You have a straight gap, which most players will take through the middle. It's wide enough, but you're trying to throw just about your farthest drive. Basket is out in a beautiful lush green in a park.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you make it through that opening gap, I mean, it's the only 400-plus foot par 3 on this course. It's a true par 3. You just absolutely need to pitch straight through the woods, approach your open field basket. But that's actually what's great about this course. This hole adds an element of difficulty because all day you've been shooting deep into the woods, protected baskets, and then all of a sudden, unless you park it like that, you might find yourself 50, 60, 70, 80 feet off of the basket in an open field, and all of a sudden you have to gauge that distance on your own. And
Shane needed to have that be up by the basket to try to get that stroke back. So as long as Kyle gets through the gap.
Yeah, Kyle got a lot of pressure taken off that drive, knowing all he needs to do is put one in the woods to take this down. Yeah,
it's a little short, but it doesn't matter. Shane's trying to throw this one in, I think, at this point. From behind the porta potty. High, probably with a Firebird?
It is an excellent shot, but
that's great. But it had to go in.
It had to go in. Because that'll give Kyle two putts from that drive to win this.
Yeah, this is just a sort of a beautiful view for the last putts of the match.
Layup from Kyle. Not quite what he wanted there. I think he wanted to put that underneath the basket.
It'll give him last putt though of the round. Shane with a good putt to finish. He fought hard. He fought hard through this.
He did. Remember, at one point he did slip back to third place, and he had gone in a tough run, and he completely locked it down. Came firing back, took advantage of a few mistakes Kyle made, and got himself right back into the mix.
They still shot great rounds. You know, I'm thinking back to a couple of holes where Shane, you know, missed a putt and then had to miss the comeback because he was so far away. Those are ones where he could have just laid up and tapped and maybe would have won. Yeah. You know, but you don't see guys do that at this level. These guys make those putts from that far away. They expect to make it. They're that good. And guys like Kyle eagled earlier through two of the best drives I think anyone's ever thrown on 2 holes. He's pumped to take home the 2018 New England Disc Golf Championships.
He played hard through the season, and he really played hard today. I mean, he never gave up. That was a really tough round. He had guys breathing down his neck every minute. He had a 3-stroke lead at one point, and it evaporated almost instantly.
Yeah, I mean, these are 4 of the best disc golfers in all of the Northeast.
One stroke.
Congratulations from his card mates. That will be an official, that was a -8, -7 round from Kyle and Shane, who battled throughout that entire thing. Mike found himself in the mix through most of it, but slipped a little bit, finishing even. Craig came back to shoot -4 on that round after not having a great front 9, and he ended up taking 3rd place with that.
A big thanks to New England Disc Golf Productions, to ActonTV, to my company, Hawk's Nest. Very excited. Jason Koczeniak was a fantastic tournament director, bringing on a great sponsor. The video, photo, and editing teams and commentary teams did great work for this. If you haven't checked out the other videos done by New England Disc Golf Productions, make sure that you go take a look and watch those. Some fantastic quality video. This is a big event for the end of the year. I'm excited to talk about this event each year, and I want to thank you, Adam, for being a great commentator too.
Yeah, it was amazing. Hopefully you guys keep watching, and we'll get Marc and Sam to keep taping them for us.
All right, thanks guys.